everyone. Welcome back to Bluegrass Dreams and Seams. Another episode, and today we're going to talk about, do you make a muslin? Not make a muslin? You know, that old song and dance. I don't want to trace my pattern. Should I trace my pattern? Why did I decide to make a muslin this time? Well, this blouse, I'm using Burda 7522. Now, I've used Burda patterns before, and I've had successes with them, and I've had some, wished I just cut that a little wider. I'm starting to kind of learn when I need to use a little bigger sizing and when not to. Now, this particular pattern in European sizes is a 36 to a 50, and in American or US sizing, it's 10 to 24. So you've got 8 sizes included. That's 8 lines. So if you're tracing this, it could be a headache, in my opinion, because when I trace on, I have a dark wooden table. It's almost impossible to see those black lines through that white paper. I just cannot see them. Plus keeping up with which line, what is it, long dashes, little dashes, dash dot, what is it? So I just cut by the outside line, and I just made the biggest size all over. Now, that's a 24. I knew it was going to be too big for me. I knew that. I could tell it was going to be too big. The body needs to go down at least a size, if not 2, and the shoulders for sure 2 sizes, because it is clearly too big. I mean, look. And it is off shoulder, so technically it's a tad too big. People might look at that and say, no, it isn't, that's perfect. But to me, it's not right. It wasn't comfortable when I put it on. With that said, there's probably really not that much difference between the lines. We may be talking like an 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch. But to me, that's enough, okay? Now, I did take 5/8 inch seam allowances. I think that's what it says in the directions. Sometimes it's hard to find that. You do have 3 languages on their patterns. What was good about my muslin was not only do I learn what size I need to cut, which is a plus, it gave me a chance to practice French seams, which with this batiste fabric, French seams is probably the best choice because the fabric is so lightweight and flowy. And another thing I kind of like is these sleeves are really full, and I like the shape of this cuff. Like, it's really different. I wish you could see it. There's a bit of a curve in this upper seam, and it makes it have this kind of a shape to it. Instead of just being straight or more straight like you typically see, this to me has a bit of a funnel shape to it, which I like. The sleeve length was perfect on me when I tried this on. The body was a little bit big. I did French seams for the sleeves. I did French seams on the side seams. When I recut the front, I put it on the center front line so that I could put it on the fold to cut it one piece so that the front and back would both be just a single solid piece, which is good because I plan on recutting this into a camisole to just be able to salvage the fabric and have something out of it. I have no idea where I bought the fabric. It was in my stash. My yokes, I was trying to still keep that off-center or asymmetrical opening, and that's where my total big fail came as far as redesigning this pattern to make it what I was hoping to be able to cut linen next and put lace touches. Well, instead, I'm making a rayon by the pattern it will look like the one down here with the bigger collar, but I'm going to put the cuffs on it, not do the elastic. That is what I'm going to make, because I need to see where that line is, and the only way I'm going to find that is if I sew it as directed, which means I have to put up with facings. I don't like facings. Give me information that I feel like I need. Since I'm not a pattern designer, I've never drafted a pattern, I have no clue where to start. Now, kerfuffle number 2. This sleeve is in backwards, and the reason it's in backwards is because when I was doing my French seaming, I didn't pay attention to where I put my pin, and I just picked it up and slapped 2 sides together and flipped it over and sewed it, and I did them in the wrong order. So instead of doing wrong sides together followed by right sides together, I did right sides together then wrong sides together. So this is actually the wrong side of the fabric showing here, and that's why when I went up here, I knew something didn't look right, but I thought, oh, that looks right, because I laid it flat. And of course, don't have the yoke on yet, so it's kind of hard to tell. And I said, oh yeah, we're fine. And we weren't. So I could have at that point taken that sleeve off, spent the evening redoing that. I already had the cuff on at that point. It's just unfortunate that that happened. Must do better marking. Then another thing that tipped me off that it was backwards was when in Burda they only give you a notch for the front to match to the body, front of the sleeve to the front of the body. They don't do a double notch on the back to match to the back of the body. So I knew when that notch line didn't match up, it was toward the back instead of the front, that it might be a little problem, but I thought, well, my sleeve cuffs look right, so I don't know why. I mean, I just wasn't looking close enough. I think I was at that point wanting to believe I did it right. It will become a cami. It will be salvaged. I have learned a few things from it. So making a muslin has its benefits. It gives you a chance to test out your ideas. It gives you a chance to kind of go through these steps of the pattern directions so that you kind of familiarize yourself with a new pattern. And it gives you a chance to try it out of a fabric that is recommended. This is probably a little lighter than what they recommend. The heavier weight linen that I'm going to be using to actually make the garment, hopefully with lace, I will probably do a back opening, center back opening, and that's going to allow me to go ahead and do my lace, and then I will do a facing part that's the same shape as the yoke. I will encase the seam line that you get going through here. The seam line, I'll have all that encased by doing the yoke front and back 2 layers, like you do on a Western shirt. So I did learn things from having my muslin, and that's what a muslin's really for, is to learn first before you cut out and make a big mistake. Now, let's talk about this garment, because I made this and it was in last week's video. I want to talk a little bit about some changes I had to make. The jacket is fine. Today was too cold for me to wear it. Starting out, I thought it was going to be great, but then the winds picked up, and when I got out of church, I was freezing. So, as you can see, I put 3 little squares down through here, and the reason I did that was I decided I would use these big snaps for closure. I wasn't happy with buttons. I wasn't happy with, I couldn't feel anything else. This felt right to me when I thought of this idea. I thought, oh, I like that idea. It kind of goes, you know, match that. This little added piece here came about because, let me get my hand under here, I had about that much of my belly showing. And when I, of course, did this, then I had none showing. I had added that one evening. It took about an hour to add that little bit. Just kept the line that was already there. And I cut me a piece from the fabric. Now, a lot of people say, well, is this really on trend? Having these little short jackets. You don't really see them that much anymore. But what is on trend is taking something that's not fabric by the yard and making something out of it, making something new. And that's what I did here. I bought a scarf and made this jacket. Now, I went down and bought me a second one, Tuscan Rose. And just so you can see the size of it, here's the width. This is pretty wide. I don't know if she gives the dimensions on this or not. No. But here it is folded in half. And just so you know, I'm not kidding. This is how long it is. I'm guessing this is 3 yards by a yard and a half, maybe 45 inches wide. This is really pretty. I love the turquoise inside of this one. Isn't that beautiful? Now, I don't know what I plan on making. I don't know if I want to make this again and maybe make it a little bit longer. What else has Cheryl been doing? Well, I decided this year was the year I'm going to declutter all my excess sock yarn leftovers. I decided it is time to make a mitered square blanket. So I've been working on mine. Now mine has 17 squares starting out. Then I do a row of 15, then back to 17, then a row of 15. I guess I've done 4 rows. Let me see. I have to look at the end. Yeah, 4 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I just finished my 4th row. And I'm really, really pleased with it. You can see you get all this array of color. Now, sometimes I use, this is actually one yarn, but there's all this bit of gray, and then finally I got to a color. It just happened, it was perfect for that square. This is all one yarn, a colorway. That's a colorway. This is 2 different yarns. But it just gives you some idea of how much fun you could have with this. This one I striped on purpose using black and the red. So there is my project so far. It's just something fun to do, to use leftover yarns. I'm not buying much of anything. I did buy a couple of mini skeins. So next week episode will be on this pattern again. I'm making it out of rayon, and I'm making it as is with the wide collar like here, but with these cuffs, not this. That will give me valuable information I need for when I do the linen version that will have lace in the yoke part. So I did learn from my muslin. Again, let me start. I learned from making that muslin, and that is the whole reason for doing a muslin, is to learn, get those mistakes worked out before you go cutting into more expensive fabric. I hope that where you're at, the sun is shining, because it's not shining here. It's a cloudy, gloomy winter day in the 40s. I could stand a little bit warmer and a little more sunshine, a little less rain. Done with the rain. And hopefully a little later I get something cut out, get started on my second version of this blouse, which will actually be something I can wear. I know that I'll be able to wear that one. And hopefully I'll get the cami also done. I have both those to show you next week. And then we'll work into working on the linen part. The blanket episode, I hope you learned something. That is the whole idea of doing these videos, learning from each other. Have a good week.